Hello everyone, this is Mike here for Rage Gaming Guides as always. Today I'm actually doing a World of Warcraft Keybind guide, and I'm going to share some tips and tricks and also some of my best practice over, well, the past 8 years or so that I've actually played the game pretty much since release. I do think I have a good opinion on the subject purely because I've did a lot of raiding, mainly in Wrath of the Lich King, where I also did a lot of Arena at the time. I actually achieved a rating of just over 2.2k playing Death Knight, which some people may say at the time was very overpowered. But during the patch I was playing, it was quite balanced. I think it was either Season 3 or Season 4 during that expansion. Now, without further ado, I'm just going to dive straight into this and go over some certain topics in regards to keybinds. For example, how you can remember keybinds. For example, you could have the letter D as a keybind and you could put something like Death Strike there, so D for Death Strike. So that's an example of how you could remember something. Of course, people can do things in their own way. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to jump in right now. Now, before I go into a little bit more depth, I'm just going to go over what keybinds I actually use. Of course, it's entirely up to you how you're going to set this up, but this will just give you a little bit of an idea. I use a Razer Naga. It is the 2012 edition, so as you can imagine, it has a lot of extra buttons there, which can be used for key binding purposes, of course. That's the whole idea of it. It is mainly an MMO mouse. It has been designed with MMOs in mind. Now, in terms of my keybinds, as you can probably see on my action bar, which is just the default UI, I like to use the default UI because I am mainly a PvP player. I like to sort of see things very easily, not too much sort of, fluff and stuff like that to make it look pretty. That's not what I'm about. I'm just about getting the job done. Now, in terms of my keybinds, as you can see on the top bar, I have the Naga buttons all the way to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After 6, it starts to get a little bit of a stretch for my hand, at least. I'm sure somebody else could do a better job of using this mouse than me. Further along, we have the middle mouse click button for death grip. Now, in PvP, what you could actually do, in fact, I'll dive into that in a little bit of a moment. I'll just go through my keys. I have the letter keys, which are very close to the movement keys. For example, T, F, C, X, G, V, D, those sorts of things, all the way to A. In terms of your movement, you might be thinking, well, I like to use the A and the D keys to turn. Now, a lot of people know this as keyboard turning. It's not a great thing to do purely because it's going to hinder how efficient your gameplay is in terms of being able to position yourself faster in raiding, of course, as well as PvP. That also applies to Arena, for example, getting behind a pillar very fast to avoid incoming damage, things like that. Not only that, but it just slows down your gameplay a lot. It's not really a great thing to do, so I would always advise to take the A and D key off first. From your movement. You can keep the Q and the E because they are strafe keys, but I know some people just like to take off pretty much everything: the A, the D, the Q, the E, even the S. That's called backpedaling if you use the S key to walk backwards, as many people know. So yeah, you can sort of do it minimalistically. You can do the A and the D, or you can expand on that a little bit more, and you can go for the Q and the E as well, and just use the mouse to move instead, which is pretty much the best way. I do find it's the fastest. Now, next up, what I would actually like to do is I'm going to explain basically how you can use letters to relate to certain skills that you have. So, for example, you will see here I have my Raise Dead ability on Shift and G. Now, the reason why I use it on G is because I don't think Raise Dead in my head. I actually think Ghoul. So what you should do is you should sort of think, how do I think of this skill in my mind? What sort of letter sounds about right to put to that? Now, I'm not saying you have to do this, of course you don't, but this just means that if you're very new to using keybinds, you'll actually find it easier to remember and relate to those buttons. So yeah, what you want to do is basically try find ways to remember the keys if you're very new at this sort of thing, and it'll actually help you improve very fast and remember a lot of those keybinds. So that's very useful again. Now, basically, as you may see on my bars, on my action bars, you have F, which is for mind freeze, and you see Shift and F is also mind freeze. Now, what I call these are focus keys. Basically, focus keys are useful mainly in PvP, but potentially in raiding, mainly if you're a tank and you've got multiple mobs that you need to tank, and you need to sort of focus another target to interrupt it, but you don't want to take yourself off the main target. So you want to keep pressure up on the boss basically. What I actually do is with a little bit of macro trickery, which I'll show you now. Just click on that. So this is mind freeze. So you've got F, that's the standard mind freeze. So I'm clicking on my target in front of us. This is the main target that I've selected, and I just use F to interrupt it. So yeah, no hassle there. Now, you might think in arena, okay, so there's a warrior and a priest healer, for example. You'll probably be thinking, well, you know, they're both right next to each other. The warrior's DPSers, but you know for a fact that the priest's going to cast something like a penance or a flash heal. But you know you want to keep the pressure up on the warrior as much as possible. So what you can actually do is you can keep DPS in the warrior, and if you set up a macro like I have, this is what I call the focus interrupt, or FOINT for short, just so it's easy to remember what keybind that is. As you can see in the macro text, it actually says show tooltip, so you can see obviously the cooldown, things like that. And to actually cast the spell on your focus target, you just do /cast closed bracket, target equals focus, and then obviously another closed bracket on the end there. It's not actually a bracket, it's one of the square brackets, not entirely sure what that's called. And then after that you have the spell name. It has to be exactly how it's obviously spelled, as you would imagine, which is mind freeze. So that's basically how you would do a focus interrupt, and this just means that you can keep the pressure up on your main target, and you can use the focus interrupt spell as long as you're in range, of course, because you need to be in range, to interrupt the focus target that you've got there. So that's your focus keys. Just to jump into some other focus keys quickly, you can do the same thing for something like Dark Simulacrum. Obviously, you could be DPS and a mage, and you know that a priest's going to cast something like Power Word Shield or Penance. So what you could actually do is you could just apply the same principle, show tooltip, /cast, target equals focus, and then what you would have instead of mind freeze for the interrupt is Dark Simulacrum. So you've always got the pressure on the main target, and you can steal spells from well, a more important class. It's entirely up to you. I'm not saying that priest is the most important class to steal spells from, but just however you judge that, you can have C for the main target, and then Shift and C, which obviously would be the secondary target. Now, with keybinds, you'll probably find that you should have enough depending on your mouse and your keyboard setup. So you can have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to whatever number your hand can reach. I can only reach 6 realistically, and then it becomes a bit of a struggle. What I actually want to explain to you is the concept of modifiers. Modifiers basically mean something like the Shift key, the Control key, the Alt key, and then what you can actually do is combine them with the numbers or letters to have more functioning hotkeys. So say for example you could have the number 1, but then I need an extra hotkey, so what I could do is apply the modifier principle, and you could actually do Shift and 1 or Control and 1 or Alt and 1, entirely up to your preference, of course, and that means you've got lots of extra keybinds there for you to use, and pretty much limitless in terms of World of Warcraft. I know it has a lot of spells, but you should never be able to fill up Control, Shift, and Alt modifiers with the numbers combined with the letters as well. That's more than enough keybinds for you to use. Now, in terms of the keybinds themselves, if you find that even the shifts, the control, the alt modifiers aren't enough for you, what you can actually do is apply that to your mouse. So let's say you have a Razer Naga, you know that it's got the 1 to 12 buttons on the side. So what you could actually do is do Shift Naga mouse button 1, Shift Naga mouse button 2, or you could even do Shift middle mouse click, or Shift mouse wheel up, or Shift mouse wheel down. So you've got a lot of options there. I actually find that, say for example for a hunter pet, if you want to use something like Shift and T, which as far as I remember is the default attack key for a pet, I actually find Shift and T a better hotkey for your main character's attack. So what you can actually do is do Shift mouse wheel up for pet attack, and then Shift mouse wheel down for pet recall. Because if you're thinking about it in your head, up for moving forward or attacking, and down, which would obviously be pet recall. So again, going back to the lettering principle to help you remember something like Death Strike under the hotkey D, obviously you can apply that to mouse wheel up and mouse wheel down for pet go and pet come back. I hope my guide's been a great help to people, especially some of the new players to World of Warcraft. When I think back to it, I kind of wish I had a little bit of a helping hand when I first started out in World of Warcraft, because not everybody's played MMOs before. You might have came from something like Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, where you're only using the mouse really, you know, your left click, right click, something like that, as well as your movement keys W, S and D. So when you come to something like an MMORPG, you've got a lot of skills there, so you can find it a little bit daunting. Sorry. So it's always nice to have a little bit of a helping hand. I really hope this has helped people. I do appreciate the time as always for watching my guide. If you would as well, like the video, drop a comment if you need a little bit more help, and also if you could subscribe. That'll be as brilliant as always. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, bye for now.